Pay him. Pay that man his money.
I'm your huckleberry.
Every year I set this league up. Every year, and I never win. This was the year.
It's Everything Fantasy Nation. Your comments, your questions, the voice of the fan. And welcome in, Everything Fantasy Nation here on EBSN Online. Thanks for watching. We want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered today, whether that be roster moves, waiver wire pickups, injuries, start sits. There's a lot of also running back timeshares going on. It's the scourge of mankind when it comes to fantasy, isn't it, Wookie? Welcome back. Good to have you back this week. Back from setting up a concert in Johnstown.
Mechanicsburg.
Mechanicsburg. Who was there again?
Luke Bryan. He picked like a random field.
I was going to say, isn't Mechanicsburg a little bit small for Luke Bryan?
There was 25,000 people there on a Thursday night for a Luke Bryan concert. And I've got to say, I've never heard Luke Bryan before, so that was something new for me, but it was cool.
There you go. You a big country fan?
No, not at all.
No, okay.
Not in the least.
You didn't think so. More of a fish guy, huh?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, there we go. Okay, guys, want to also thank our sponsor, BetDSI, BetDSI.com, over 20 years in the business. You know, when you're talking about fantasy football, you're really talking about gambling. We like to do it because we want to have a horse in the team, or a horse in the field.
Horse in the race.
Horse in the race.
There we go.
Thank you for my analogy at some level. I think I said chewing gum and talking, too. That was my other faux pas rather than walking. But
yeah, there we go.
Anyway, BetDSI. So make sure this Sunday for all your NFL action, not only is it great to have your players in the game, but if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and they already played at 1 o'clock, you got a shot at 8 o'clock to make. Who's the 8 o'clock game, Fredo?
It's Dallas and Houston.
You get a chance to make either. Well, I just used Dallas.
To make you get to use Dallas. There
right?
you go.
I had to use Dallas. So 32 teams. I had to pick one that was playing in my example.
If you're a Browns fan,
if
you're a Browns fan and you already watched your game at 1, you can bet on Dallas at 8.
Tough day. Anyway, but make sure you're not getting on Dallas on Sunday night, and
that's going to be an ugly game, man.
Team,
with Houston and Dallas.
Houston as your play, and they can be your other team. And so BetDSI, go to there to make your bets. Promo code EBSN, BetDSI.com. Okay, so lots of stuff to get into. We want to hear from you guys. Comments, questions. We want you to share the post, make sure other people can see this stuff. We've got a poll question today. You ready for this one?
Let's hear it.
Historic. Greatest fantasy football running back of all time. And so when I was thinking of this, I was like, well, where did fantasy football really start? Like, who's the first great running back in fantasy football history?
I'd say the first one was probably Emmett.
That's what
it was like early 90s-ish was kind of where fantasy got going. Mm-hmm. And after that, you went right into LT. And then you had Priest Holmes there for a few years.
You know what? I didn't include LaDainian Tomlinson in that. I somehow forgot to. That's who I was trying to remember that I couldn't. I had Marshall Faulk, Emmitt Smith, and Adrian Peterson were my 3.
See, and then if I would expand it to LT, and I would even put Priest Holmes for those couple seasons.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on Priest, but I will throw LT in there. I think that's so that'll be the right-in. A couple people checking in already. Want to shout them out. Donald, hello, welcome in. Thanks for watching. Kwong, welcome in. Thank you. Brutus Scarlet is here in the house. Thank you, Mr. Brutus Scarlet. Martin Reinhardt asks, Matt Ryan or Goff, who has quickly become one of the top 5 to 10 best quarterbacks in this league. Look,
I think this week you're going to go Matt Ryan. They're playing at Pittsburgh, and
he's been unbelievable.
And talk about, that's going to be a lot of throwing that game. I think Ben's probably averaging about 55 attempts a game, and Matt Ryan's right there with him. It's going to be a total shootout. I've got a lot of players to talk about today in that game.
Okay, great. So there you go, Martin. Hope that helped. Justin Miranda wants to know Landry, D.D. Westbrook, or Nelson Aguilar in your flex position.
Well, I'm keeping Aguilar on my bench with Alshon Jeffrey back. It's he might be getting cut pretty soon, and I would go with D.D. Westbrook there. I think he's going to have a good game plan against the Chiefs. Their defense is terrible, and they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. It's going to be him and Keelan Cole.
All right, Greg. Greg loves your Wu-Tang shirt, by the way. There you go. Well done. Okay, so that's where we start. We wanted to get, again, the poll question, greatest fantasy running back of all time. We want to hear your thoughts. Emmitt Smith, Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson will be your write-in, and then Adrian Peterson. So to vote on the poll question, just either use the heart sign or the laughing hysterically sign if you like Adrian Peterson, or just write in LaDainian Tomlinson or any other write-in vote that you think is the greatest fantasy running back of all time. We're also taking your calls on the BetDSI hotline, 1-866-217-1966. And of course, answering your questions and giving you guys shout-outs. Want to shout out Tito. Thanks, Jeff, for tuning in. G-Rob, Gary Robinson is checking in, and we'll just keep moving along on that. Okay, so let's start out with some injuries in this Thursday night game, because that's the most pressing issue, I guess, at this point.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because the Colts are basically the walking wounded at this point.
I think they're like a high school team right now.
And New England, all of a sudden, they just got healthy.
Yep.
With Julian Edelman, Gronk's going to play. You got Josh Gordon becoming probably a little bit more of the offense this week.
I saw a stat.
And Sonny Michel.
Yep.
Just every once in a while, he tries to pop his head up there and be relevant.
I think that Rex Burkhead injury is going to wind up being like the best thing for them, because now you have James White
on pace to catch like 88 balls.
And then you have Sonny Michel coming out and showing he can, actually tote the rock. And I think that's going to be great for them. This is the first time since November 2016 that Gronk and Edelman have been on the field together. So
wow,
it's going to be something tonight. And you were talking about injuries. T.Y. Hilton's out. Jack Doyle's out. Marlon Mack is out. Both of their starting tackles are out, as well as the second-string tackles. So they're down to the third-string tackles. Starting safety's out. Starting cornerback is out. I mean, it's just wow. I want to say play Andrew Luck tonight just because of garbage time, but at the same time, he might get killed tonight.
Yeah, no T.Y. Hilton. Who's their big wide receiver, Fredo? That's the rookie that's been killing it. Or maybe not a rookie. He's been like a fourth-year player who's been a journeyman. Clark?
Chester Rogers?
No. Another wide receiver.
I'm totally blanking on that, and I don't have their.
Right. Come back to you. I'll come back to you. See if we can find that. Somebody else maybe here can help us out too. James Hand, thank you for checking in. He wants to get to the Fred Wheeler shaving. We will get to that. I guess I'm burying the lead a little bit here, huh? Fredo is on his way in from Albuquerque. We've got him on the car phone right now. He'll be here about 1:45, the top of the hour at 3 o'clock. And he's going to come on right here because he gave us a garbage pick last week for the third straight week in a row.
He's really fallen off.
Yeah, and there's got to be consequences at this point.
Yeah, it all started with that Rutgers Kansas pick, and
Honest
after that, it just
nosedived, maybe you should stop taking garbage ass teams, and that might help a little bit. Rutgers and Memphis and
was it Memphis last week? Is that the one I missed? Oh, nice.
He faded the Green Wave, who came out and torched Memphis. So Fredo will be paying off his bet today. As you can, I guess you can't see, but we have a mirror. And we have clippers.
I could use these too, but I'm not part of the bet.
Yeah, exactly. So Fredo will be shaving half of his goatee live on air as he gives another pick because, again, there's got to be consequences when he's been on this bad of a streak. And as Tito asked last week, I think we are officially in Fade Fredo time. And so I'm going to take a bet this week with him, and I'll put something on the line. We'll be talking about that Kansas City-Jacksonville game, which should be really interesting. Okay, let's get back to some comments here. Gary Robinson also wants to see the beard go away. I'll tell you what, Fredo, you better get in here from Albuquerque. Don't be late. Martin Reinhardt wants to know Naheem Hines or David Johnson this week. Man, we're at this point. We're asking David Johnson or.
I'm telling you, if it's a PPR league, I'm going Naheem Hines right there. He's their only option tonight. Him and Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron is a solid top 4 tight end this week just because of the volume he's going to see.
When do we get to the point where we're asking flex position, David Johnson or Nick Van Nett?
I mean, I'm seeing people.
That's where we're getting.
There's people asking if they should drop David Johnson. it's like talking about LaShawn McCoy.
You can't drop. Here again. You can't drop David Johnson.
No,
I know they're garbage.
Exactly.
You can't get anything for him. You took him as a top 5 pick.
Yep.
You got to play him every week, and until there's enough concrete evidence to show that he's just not going to be that guy, you just got to stick with him. And I'd say that's going to take probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks at least.
Not to mention, if you took him in the top 5, you're probably sitting at like 1-3 right now. So I mean, it's not going to hurt you to keep him in and try to ride it out.
Hopefully, you didn't take him last year too.
Yeah.
Right? No kidding. Okay, let's see. Get a couple other ones here. John wants to know, is Kenyon Drake worth hanging on to at all? And man, John, I'm glad you asked that, because I have that dilemma. And what I'm looking at in my league is we only got spots for 4 running backs, so there are some options out there on the waiver wire. That being said, there's also a lot of great wide receiver options at this point out there.
Wide receivers
so
a dime
deep.
a dozen this year.
And, I want a guy like Mike Williams is sitting out there, right? And I'm sitting – oh, there you go. You got him actually up on your screen. So I'm sitting there, and I've got my mouse over top of the claim button, and I'm trying to figure out who to drop. And, man, I'm looking at Kenyon Drake, and I'm like, damn. Do I drop a running back for a wide receiver, even though the wide receiver is much better? I mean, we're one Frank Gore hamstring away from him taking over and having 25 carries.
But what does that mean
A-back.
at this point? I mean, they're not putting up – even Frank Gore's not putting up the numbers. I mean, their running game is pretty much non-existent right now.
Yeah, but do we count on him for a run? I mean, isn't that the whole point of Kenyon Drake, is the PPR and to catch some passes out of the backfield? And
but
you hold on to a running back at that point?
What's he averaging right now? Like 3.5 a game, 4 points a game. I guess PPR maybe like 6.
My point is there's no running backs.
And
that's the thing. Let's see. Let's get a couple other questions in here. Standard. Scott wants to know, James White versus the Colts or Mark Ingram versus Washington on Monday night. I definitely think you go with Mark Ingram on Monday night. I like having the Monday night guy. 2, it's a standard league, and I really think James White loses all his value for the most part when you're talking about taking away his PPR. Especially with the way Sony Michel's going. He's not going to get the touches at the goal line. Your thoughts on that? But for me, I'm taking Mark Ingram because he's going to get the goal line touches.
Man, to me, it might be like a recency bias because it just happened to me last week, but I'm in a standard league, and I was up against James White, and he was the reason I lost. In standard, he had like 21.5 points, and I can see them going to him early again tonight, build up the lead, and then turn it over to Sony Michel. So I would go James White. I mean, I think this game tonight, the Pats are just going to run him out of the building.
All right, there you go, Scott. Greg Kraft checks in PPR. Goff or Wentz this week. And I think, who the Eagles have? Philly's got Minnesota.
I'd be going
They're
with
going
Goff
to be
right
angry.
there.
They're at home. 45's that total. Rams have Seattle, who is just garbage.
They just lost Earl Thomas, and they're just who knows what's going on.
Yeah,
in
and
that
that point total is a little
I'd
higher.
be going with Goff.
Yeah, I think so too. You got to ride Goff at this point.
He's the hot hand.
Yeah, especially with, I know the Eagles are starting to get a little bit healthier, but I just think I like that play a little bit better. Do we got someone on the line there, producer G?
Yeah, I was getting ready to come to it. We've got G-Rob on the phone, Gary Robinson.
All right, we got G-Rob on the BetDSA hotline. G-Rob, what's up, man? Oh, do we have G-Rob?
We got G-Rob?
It looks like he hung up, so
there
we'll
we
have
go.
to
Good
try
job,
back.
G-Rob.
All right, we'll check back in, and we'll take your calls right now, 1-866-217-1966. If anybody wants to call in and give their thoughts on our poll question, who's the greatest running back in fantasy football history? Emmitt Smith, Adrian Peterson. We're going to do LaDainian Tomlinson as a write-in, and Marshall Faulk will be the other one. And the way you guys can vote is either heart or the laugh, or do the write-in. Let's keep moving. Let's see here. Vicken. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know any other way to pronounce it, really, but correct me if I'm wrong. Thoughts on starting Grant or Rodgers tonight? With Grant is who I was thinking of. Thank you,
there it
Vicken.
is, yep.
That's who I was trying to come up with. Grant or Rodgers tonight with Ty out?
I think if you can, you stay away from both of them.
I think Grant's the guy to go to.
Yeah, Grant's been the guy that he's been looking for in the red zone.
It's going to have to be garbage time. They're going to be just chucking it around towards the end to keep up.
True. Like I said earlier, I think it's going to be Ebron and Hines will be the 2 targets tonight. I don't know that he's going to have enough time to get it out to those wide receivers, but if you have to pick one of them, I'd go with Grant.
All right. And want to make sure you guys are following us at Everything Fantasy Nation on Facebook, Twitter. Also, make sure you're checking out at EBSN Online. Also, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like and share the post, please. Get our information out there. Hopefully, we can help you out. Win your fantasy league or your daily or whatever you've got going on gambling-wise. Because, it's all gambling, and BetDSI is going to be the place for you to go gamble. We are giving you, listen to this deal, Mike, $500 bonus, up to $500. They will match every penny you put in up to $500. So if you put $50 in, they're going to give you $50, and you got $100 to bet with all of a sudden.
So BetDSI, I go drop $500. They're matching me $500.
So you got
I have $1,000 to play with.
How
this
about that
weekend.
deal?
That's
pretty
I know
sweet, huh?
Fredo's probably all over it.
Absolutely.
He's
well,
like
he's got a deposit every third day there.
So, he's on that like.
Hey, I'll give you one even better. You can put 500 in, get your 500 match, spend that 500, then take your original 500 back.
Look at that.
There you go.
It's almost playing with house money.
You just got to give it a little
$500 to
time to marinate in there, and then you can take it right out for sure. So absolutely, BetDSI.com. And the other thing that's great about BetDSI, anytime you go to an online book and you want to put money in, you always worry about your money. Can I get it out? And that's the best thing I like about BetDSI is it's so easy to request money, to pull funds out, and to get more funds in there. Hundreds of wagering options. If you miss kickoff, they do live betting. So 105 and you still like the Bears +5, it's probably still +5, and you can go ahead and put your bet in there.
Yeah, and don't forget that link is in the description as well. And real quick, Donald Michael comments. He says, "Can you guys not see my comments?" Michael or Donald, I'm not sure where you're making those comments. What
I see you now.
Site you're looking on? You may be seeing it on a third-party post, but just jump into the video and leave your comments there. We appreciate it.
Yep. Just go to Everything Fantasy Nation Facebook feed, and that's where we're monitoring the comments, and we'll get you guys in there. And get everything answered for you. Promo code is EBSN Online, by the way, for BetDSI. So make sure you put in EBSN Online, and they'll hook you up over at BetDSI.com. Justin wants to know, is Tariq Cohen worth a start after the bye week? Justin, I'm glad you asked, because that brings me to something I wanted to talk about, and that's the timeshare situation going on with some certain teams. And the Chicago Bears are one of them, because I was really high on Jordan Howard this year coming in.
And then he dropped that stinker right there before the bye. Yeah.
I thought this guy was going to take off and have a big year, and he should, by all accounts. The Bears are better. Trubisky's more competent. They got better weapons. But Tariq Cohen is got now 48% of the touches to Howard's 54%. So this is a true timeshare right now. And I just don't know, Justin, at this point, whether you could trust either one of them.
I was about to say
Cohen is the one with the more upside right now because you spent less on him.
Exactly. But when you look at it, I think that last game they had was an outlier. You're not going to get another 6-touchdown game out of Trubisky necessarily. And,
no, you don't think so?
And before that.
Wait a second.
And before that, though, I mean, Cohen, he'd had some stinkers, like some real, like 3 to 4 points. If you're in a PPR, he might have been 6-point games. I know he really busted out there against Tampa Bay, but I mean, that was Tampa Bay. So I think you're going to see the Fitzmagic's over. So I think you're going to see Jordan Howard have a better week this week. But, man, that's a backfield I'd be nervous about. I don't know about starting Tariq Cohen this week.
Yeah, and just a couple other ones I wanted to hit while we got a second on this. Baltimore is another one, and that's the other thing, guys. When you're talking about running backs, there's so much that goes into handicapping the future for these running backs. Yep. And you see something like Alex Collins where you fumble, and then you lose an entire half. And that may also play into future carries and the trust factor and all that other sort of stuff. What's that? Yeah, sorry, I'll get you here in a second. And then you got Buck Allen, who's going to come out of the backfield. He's going to eat into some carries.
He's going to catch the ball a lot. He was seeing a lot more receiving. Yep. But then with that, like you said, with that fumble, you're even getting Buck Allen getting red zone work now, which you would think would be somewhere Collins would shine. And I mean, that's another one it's hard to put your finger on it. So Baltimore's a mess. Cleveland is a little bit more clear, but it's still a crowded backfield, and especially now with Nick Chubb busting on the scene literally with 2 long bust runs. Nick Chubb, I think, if you have room on your bench, he's a guy, if you can afford it, just stash him. Until Carlos Hyde gets hurt for 4 weeks? Carlos Hyde's going to get hurt. We're Ohio State fans. He's going to get nicked up at some point. disappoint and miss a game or two.
How good of a nickname is El Guapo? I mean, the beautiful for Carlos Hyde.
Yeah. I like the nicknames coming out for the
Guapo and Chubb.
I was gonna say for the Chubb.
It sounds like a bad
Chubb
TV
the
cop
Chubb and
drama.
Hyde, the Chubb and Hyde backfield. Like
I like
hide
Guapo
your
and
Chubb.
It sounds like a bad '80s buddy cop movie. But yeah, Carlos Hyde right now is getting 60%. Duke Johnson 36% of the touches. Chubb only 3.7%. But that's going to increase as the season goes on, and they try to take less mileage off of Carlos Hyde. And I also think they're going to get Duke more involved here eventually.
He's more of the passing game guy. You even see him lining up in the slot a lot.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on him quite yet.
I dropped him about 2 weeks ago.
Well, I guess if you got room, it depends.
I think I dropped him for Eckler.
Okay.
So.
Hey, Fredo, grab that phone if you wouldn't mind, please. Fredo just walked in the studio. Welcome back from Albuquerque. Good driving.
That was fast.
Yeah, you did get here quickly. Denver, Philip Lindsay. 40% of the touch. This is a backfield that's a mess and a half.
Well, it looks.
Let me get the numbers out here real quick because it's interesting. Freeman 27%. Surprisingly, Devontae Booker with 34% of the snaps he has more than Freeman and then almost as many as Lindsay. So, what's your thoughts on the Denver backfield?
I mean, if you're looking at it from not fantasy, it's awesome for them having those three running backs because
right?
all three are producing. Like
we
for
don't
the
care
team,
about real football.
But for us, like that's a backfield. It's like throw a dart at it and see who it hits and who's going to put the points up. So. I mean, I'm glad I'm not in a position to have to start any of them because that would suck.
Right.
I don't know who you would go with in that one. I mean, on any given week, it could be any one of them.
That's right. Okay, let's get a couple more comments in here. Donald, still haven't seen your comment, but I see you on there. So go ahead and put some stuff down there if you got a question or anything. Ryan England wants to know Eckler, Baldwin, or Funchess at Flex in PPR. Funchess is a fun name to say.
I like Eckler in the PPR right there. Playing against Oakland this week.
Yeah.
That game, it's going to be up and down the field with Carr and Rivers. So I would go Eckler there all day.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Who's Camelina have this week? Fredo, who do you got? Who's Cam got this week?
Well, before you move on to that, let me jump in here with the phone call because we do have somebody on the line now.
Okay, let's go to the Bet DSI hotline. Who do we got there?
Don't forget, you guys can call in, too. The number's right at the top of your screen if you're watching live right now. It's Adam Dell. We got Adam Dell on the line. How you doing, Adam?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Hey, Dell, what's happening, man?
Not much. I got a PPR question for you. I have a little dilemma here.
Okay.
I got Jordy Nelson or D.D. Westbrook in the PPR. I'm kind of torn.
Well, we know who D.D. Westbrook has. He's got the porous Kansas City secondary.
Yeah, and then Nelson has the Chargers, and that one's got a high point total on it too. I think
they have a decent secondary though.
It's all right. I think you're going D.D. Westbrook here. I was just talking about
too.
him earlier, saying I think he's in for a big week.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Del, I'm going to go with D.D. Westbrook with that Kansas City game. I just think that's going to have more points to it because as good as Jacksonville's defense is, Kansas City's going to be able to move the ball on them enough that it's going to create some opportunities for it.
I think that one's going to be not quite the shootout that I almost said San Diego, that the Chargers and Raiders is going to be. So, yeah, I'd go Westbrook.
Del, you got any sort of thought on the greatest running back in fantasy football history?
As much as I hate saying this as a big Packers fan, I got to go with Adrian Peterson just because I watched him run all over us year after year after year.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
It's got to be AP.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Give us a call back sometime.
Thanks for listening.
All right.
All right, and you can get involved here on the Bet DSI hotline, 1-866-217-1966. Gerardo wants to know Edelman or John Brown or Sterling Shepard, and we're going to play it as a PPR unless you guys tell us it's standard, okay? So that's how we'll do all the comments. So let us know if it's PPR or standard. If it is PPR, yikes. Yeah, I'm plugging and playing Julian Edelman
Yeah,
at this point,
I
right
think
out of
you
the
do.
gate, I think.
Yeah, but you know Tom Brady has that connection with him. It's his first game.
And
I know
they'll be concentrating and getting him some touches early.
and Gronk's playing, so Gronk's going to take a man away.
Yeah.
So I think I think Edelman's the really safe one there. John Brown's just like this year's Mike Wallace. Like it's either touchdown or bust, and
I agree.
if he might have two of them, but he also might drop a 3-point line for you.
Appreciate everybody's comments. If you guys left us a comment, make sure you're giving us a big thumbs up, liking the video, give us a share into other fantasy football groups. We'd appreciate that. We've got another person on the phone right now. We got G-Rob. Gary Robinson. We'll try it again. What's up, G-Rob?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, Gary, what's
How's it going,
happening?
Gary?
Good. Hey, quick question for you.
Let's hear it.
What do you got?
Cool. Hey, I've got a little quarterback situation on my fantasy team this
Okay.
week. I've got either Drew Brees against the Skins or Big Ben against the Falcons.
Big Ben. Big Ben. Don't even think twice about it. Just go Big Ben. He's gonna have the highest point total on the week for quarterbacks this week. Guarantee
You
it.
think so?
Guarantee it.
All right.
I
You know
bet
what?
that-
I'll roll with my man Wookie on that then, and say Big Ben.
Yep.
That's a pretty confident statement from him to be that.
And I'm a Browns fan. I'm
committed.
telling you, he's going to have a huge week this week.
There you go. That total's 57.5, so it's looking that way too, G-Rob. You got any thought on the greatest running back in fantasy football history?
Oh my gosh.
Right now,
I go
we've
AP.
nailed it down to Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson, Emmitt Smith, or Adrian Peterson.
I mean, AP was just so dynamic. I mean, he was so strong. He was so fast. AP was an absolute machine in his heyday.
Oh,
so I
God,
go
all
AP.
you millennials. All right. No, I appreciate the comment and the call, and hopefully that gave you some information to go off of for this week.
Appreciate it, fellas. Yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. Have a good one.
Thanks, Gare. Also want to thank Jeff Wolf for watching. Let's see who else we got here. Raymond Vargas wants to know a trade offer. Yeah, we love trades. Let's stop the break so we can break down the trade. Galladay for Freeman. Sorry. Galladay and Freeman for Graham and Williams. Yikes.
I don't like that.
We were talking a little off air about the tight end wasteland that is the NFL and how it used to be just easy to pick someone up if somebody got hurt. And
streaming you could even
Charles Clay or whoever it might have been. And now tight ends are
you're down to looking at like Jeff Swain.
Honestly,
or whatever
Nick Van Nett,
Jeff Hireman
Vance
is fantasy relevant.
Honest to God. So I would hold on to Jimmy Graham if that's who you've got. Galladay's nice, but you still got Marvin Jones there.
And
He's not the
receiver,
number
Golden
one.
Tate,
There's lots, and like we were talking, there's lots of
They're
wide
everywhere.
receivers out there.
Yep.
So I'd hold on to that tight end, and I don't think Freeman's a guy that you can. If you're trying to sell him now, you're selling him at his lowest point.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think if that's
not the way to
you with
value.
Graham and Freeman, I'd hold on to him. I don't like that.
But thanks for the question there, Raymond. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Paul wants to know Brady or Ryan. Boy, that's a tough one because I like Brady tonight, but
like I said, I think that game that we're talking about with Pittsburgh and Atlanta, I think that one's going to be just a total shootout.
Indy's secondary is not awful either.
Oh, I mean, it's beat up tonight.
But yeah, I hear you. It's a Thursday night, a little bit low prag. I mean, I kind of like.
I mean, the Patriots are going to win.
That Pittsburgh secondary is just garbage.
Yeah, I think I'd go Matt Ryan there because I feel like Brady's going to manage it more than he is going to blow up for it this week.
Real quick, G, before I do that, Fredo had one last quick thing to say before we go to the call. If we could pop, Fredo, did you get it? No, okay. Let's go right to the call then.
Actually, I just want to.
Sorry.
I want to thank Ryan England, Gerardo, Raymond Vargas, Paul Shady. You guys keep hanging there with us. We're going to come to everybody's comments and make sure you give it a like, a share on the video. Yeah, but so Donald Michael said he can't get through to us on the comments, so he's just going to call in with us. What's going on, Donald?
Hey, Donald.
How's it going, Donald?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Sorry you're having issues with the comments, but this is a good way to circumvent that. What can we do for you?
All right. It's a half PPR flex question.
Okay.
Who do I start? Cup, Woods, or Galladay?
Ooh.
I like Woods. He's just got the hot hand.
I was going to say Cup or Woods. I don't think you'll go wrong picking either one of them. I go with one of your Rams guys, and because I would say Cup. Jake likes Woods. So Fredo, I think, would probably go Cup. So we're gonna. I think
let's
I'd
ask
say
Fredo.
Cup.
Fredo just got here. Let's pop Fredo on and see what he's got.
I'm going to go with Cup especially after last week's performance. What did he have?
You're not going to leave him on the bench again?
I didn't leave him on the bench. That was somebody else in our league.
Hey, Donald, did you have Cup on the bench last week?
No, actually, I just picked him up in my league. So.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even have him last week. You were one of the fortunate ones to grab him off of waiver wires, huh?
So he must have been top on the list.
Yep.
Yep. I think I would go Cup, Donald.
Which way are you leaning, Donald?
Cup. That's all I have in right now. I was just asking.
All right. I'm always a big proponent of when there's a tie, go with your gut. And I think you couldn't go wrong really with either one. It's just going to be a matter of the matchups. If you want to do a little bit more deeper digging, take a look at the secondaries and see how they are against both the slot and on the outside. And that might give you your answer as far as who's the better matchup between the two if you want to get a little bit more specific. But I think you couldn't go wrong either way. But I'll go with the consensus, and I'll lean Cup as well then.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for calling,
Wait, we
Donald.
wanna ask
Make
him
sure to
about
call back.
fantasy. We got to ask him about the poll question.
Oh, yeah. Pull quad. You still there, Donald?
Emmett Smith, no doubt about it.
What's that?
He said Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith. There you
No
go.
doubt about it.
Non-millennial. Thank you, Donald.
Appreciate you, Donald. Tune in every Thursday.
Spread the word.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We'll get back to the comments here. Paul wanted to know, Hogan, now that Edelman is back, or Aguilar against Minnesota, leaning Aguilar. So that's his gut. What do you guys say?
I mean, I think Hogan's going to see a lot less. Where he's going to be like a boomer bust type guy now. He's going to have to get loose on something. And as much as I don't like Aguilar right now, I think I would go Aguilar over Chris Hogan.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's just too many mouths to feed. And
there are, and especially the underneath mouths
Yep.
with James White and Edelman. And so, yeah, I think that Hogan's life has just expired in fantasy
I think
football
he's
as
just
a
about
weekly
done.
starter. So, yeah, you're going to go ahead and transition that to Aguilar. I think you are leaning the correct way. Let's see who else we got here. Efren wants to know Will Fuller or Jarvis Landry. Fuller's banged up right now. Fredo, what's Fuller's injury status right now?
Fuller's injury status right now is hamstring. Could return for Sunday night's game. He's been fighting this all season, though, and it hasn't slowed him up.
Now, I know he did get a practice in today, and he had a light practice yesterday. So it's kind of trending to he might play. But if you're in a PPR league, I think I would go Landry there just for the simple fact of volume alone yet again. And, so I would go with Landry.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Jarvis Landry, I mean, we saw what he's done in Miami in the years past.
Just make sure you're letting us know if it's PPR or standard. Because if that's a standard, I would go Fuller if he plays. I think they both have the same kick time this weekend, so you can kind of monitor it and see. But if it's PPR, I would definitely go Landry.
All right. So thank you for the question. Make sure you guys, again, are sharing and liking our poll question today. Greatest running back of all time in fantasy football. We've gotten it down to Emmitt Smith, Marshall Faulk, Adrian Peterson, and our writing candidate is LaDainian Tomlinson. If you guys got someone else that is in mind for the greatest running back in fantasy football history, just let us know. Hit us up in the comments section. We'll be taking your comments and answering any of your questions. Again, make sure you're following us at Everything Fantasy Nation on Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you're following at EBSN Online on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go to ebsnonline.com for all our great content. And you can catch the podcast anytime at SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, or any other place that you can get podcasts. And we want to thank also betdsi.com for being our sponsor. Back to the comments now. Let's go. Shout out to Jenny Brown Scott. Hello. Thank you for checking out the program, Jenny, and make sure that you're spreading the word. Aaron Warren wants to know Marvin Jones or Josh Gordon. That's an interesting one. That's a low liar, wide receiver 3 type play. That's wouldn't normally get a lot of attention. What are your thoughts?
I think you go Marvin Jones this week. They're playing Green Bay. That's another one that's going to have a pretty high point total on it. And you just don't know yet with Josh Gordon.
Right, he hasn't done anything.
He had 2 targets last week. He'll he'll probably have 5 or 6 tonight, and it's Josh Gordon, so he could do something with that. But you know what you're getting in Marvin Jones and Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So I'd go Marvin Jones.
I'm with you. I'm from Missouri. You got to show me. We'll go with Marvin Jones on that one. Jorge asks, or maybe it's George. I just pronounced it with a silent J. Russell Wilson 1 to the Rams. What is that? I'm not sure what that means, Jorge. Give me a little bit more. I'm not sure. Try to rephrase
I'll tell you this.
that. Do you know what he's trying to ask there?
Anything about Russell Wilson this week? No.
Just bad Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're asking, but if it was do I start him against the Rams? No, you don't.
That's right. There you go. That's a Wookie seal of approval on that. Let's see. Efren, thanks for the info, guys. You got it anytime. Paul's got a vote on the poll question, a write-in. TD. Like, you brought up Priest Holmes a little bit as far as someone for a couple years.
I don't know about Terrell. And I was a big Broncos fan growing up.
2 years he was.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not enough of a sample size for me. 2,000 yards in one season is pretty freaking impressive.
But are we talking just biggest single season, or are we talking, they produced for a while, and I mean his knees didn't hold up for him. So although I like that's a good choice.
That's definitely a good write-in. Definitely somebody to think about.
I mean, while we're on that thing, how about Jerome Bettis then? I'm sure he had a few years where he could have been,
How about we go current? I mean, where's Le'Veon Bell over the last 5 years?
Over the last few weeks, he's been jet skiing.
Well, I know where he's been, yes. Jenny's watching in New Jersey. That's awesome, Jenny. Thank you. Appreciate it. Also, let us know. We are so interested in where you guys are watching from. That's always cool to me. I think last week we had somebody from Tokyo was watching, or there was someone from England. Italy. Yes, that's right. Ciao. Nice. There was somebody from Italy that was watching as well. Is it any fire with Dez going back to the Cowboys? Producer G, we got him in the studio. That's a good question for him. Co-host of Silver and Blue Nation, where you can get all your information on the Dallas Cowboys, and you can hear Big Game James yell about how bad Jason Garrett is and Dak Prescott, and producer G will also tell you how bad Dak Prescott is. But we want to know, is Dez Bryant coming back to the Cowboys? Is this breaking news, G?
He's expressed that he wants to come back, but that doesn't mean he's going to.
I think he wants to go wherever someone will give him money.
I just think with that whole situation, what we have realized is that the Cowboys might have made a mistake, because we now, I think, know that Dak Prescott might have been more of the issue than what Dez Bryant was.
I agree with you, G. I think it was a bad move letting him go, and at the same time, I don't know how good of a look it is for Dez to be like, hey, I want to go back to the Cowboys now.
Dez is fantasy irrelevant right now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Is it a bad look for the Cowboys if they went back to him, G? I mean, are you for that move if they brought him back now?
To me, it's not going to change anything. I mean, if he comes back, he's still going to have the same production he had last year because Dak Prescott's so limited. So it makes no difference to me. But, yeah, I mean, with the production that he's putting up, you would hope that you can get him a little bit cheaper. But if he can come back cheaper, why not?
All right. There you go, Jay. Hope that helps a little bit. Thanks for the question. Nicole asked, Jared Cook or Jordan Reed?
Oh, you're going Jared Cook all day playing the Chargers.
That guy's been money this year so far.
He's also a pretty good value. Just want to touch on it on DraftKings this week. I believe he's like 4,800 as opposed to your 65 for Gronk or something. So fire up your Jared Cooks and daily.
Yeah, and I'll have my daily bust of the week, who I present as my daily play of the week. So always fade my daily bust of the week. It's been Benjamin Watson and Austin Hooper last week, I think.
Mine was Sammy Watkins last week.
I'll make sure I give you a tight end that will absolutely not produce this week and to stay the hell away from, no matter how little he costs on your daily fantasy football team. Okay, Martin watching from Rochester, New York. Rochester, a little upstate New York. Love to hear that. Raymond is in Maryland. Thank you, Maryland, for checking in. And Kamara is the best already as the all-time greatest running back.
I'm not going to say all-time greatest.
Give me 2 more years
but he
of that production, and he's up there.
Insane. The things Alvin Kamara does, I don't know why they're bringing Mark Ingram back, man. They should just trade him. They don't need him. Like, why let him eat into Kamara's touches? That's the only thing I worry about. But Kamara is a freak.
Absolutely. Let's see. Chaz Wallace, aloha, Hawaii.
Nice.
Awesome. Hawaii and the islands are in the house.
It's early out there.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay with the volcanoes and everything. That's settled down, right?
I hope the weather's
Let me
nice.
know if everything's good. I'm sure the weather's nice in Hawaii at this point. But let's see. What do you want to know? Should I start Russell Wilson or Alex Smith? Again, we said stay the hell away from Russell Wilson.
Alex Smith's playing. Who
Alex
do the
Smith is
Skins have
pretty
this week?
bad
They're playing the Saints. Yeah, I mean they got a
They're
good
gonna have to
secondary,
throw.
but it's going to be a back. I mean Drew
Yep.
Brees is going for that all-time passing record this week. So
They're going to have to
I'd
throw
go with
for
Alex
sure.
Smith.
All right, thanks for the question there. Jackson wants to know PPR. Which side wins in this trade? Aaron Jones and Eric Ebron for Leonard Fournette.
Straight just for Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
I don't
that
want
hamstring,
Leonard
man.
Fournette.
No, I mean, if you can move Leonard Fournette for that,
Yeah, if
press
you're-
the button.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting back a tight end who's getting consistent volume,
Yep.
and you're getting
Another
Aaron
running
Jones,
back,
right?
yep.
Yeah, and I mean, he's pretty much their guy now that he's back from his suspension. So,
But do not trade those two for Leonard Fournette.
yeah, no, don't do that. We don't even know when he's going to be
He
back.
could be gone 6-8 weeks. They
Yeah.
put him on IR.
It's that hammy, and he's always had that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, let's see.
I got something for us here.
Jackson, also in Maryland. Thank you for checking in. Go ahead.
We can jump back into the phone line so
Sure.
you guys can see the graphic on the screen now. You can give us a call if you want to have your fantasy questions answered on the air. Right now we got Chad Green on the line, or Chad Crane, I'm sorry. Chad Crane, what's going on, Chad?
What's going on?
Hey, Chad. What's
How's it going,
happening?
Chad?
What's up?
How you doing, sir? Hey, I got this problem that I have every week. I've only choose right once. Somehow I luckily got Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger in my 12-person team draft. And I have the troubles of picking the right one each week. Who do you think is going to be the good one this week?
That's an interesting question. Because quarterbacks, there's plenty of, and you do sometimes get two really good options on your roster. I like to try to cut one of them so I don't have to make that decision and then bring a running back in. But I get your spot. First, I would try to trade one of them. And then as far as this week goes, what do you think, Mike?
This week, Ben, and if you can trade him, hopefully Breeze has a good game this week, and try to trade Breeze because Big Ben rests his schedule. He's going to – I hate dumping praise on the Steelers, but Big Ben's going to have a great season by the end of the year.
And I'll confuse the hell out of you because I would trade Big Ben. I think that he's the older one. He's going to play outdoors. Saints have Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and they play in a controlled environment as it gets colder. I would keep Breeze and trade Ben Roethlisberger.
It's a good problem to have. That's not a bad thing.
You're welcome for nothing. Who do you think is the greatest running back in fantasy football history, Chad?
Oh, man, probably the Falk.
Marshall Falk. That's
greatest show on turf.
I kind of agree. I think those 5 years. I mean, he was the first real PPR guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one
that's
who
what PPR really got popular.
He laid the groundwork for LT. You know what I mean?
Honestly.
Like it was him was the reason LT got to play the way he did.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate the call. Spread the word.
Thanks.
All right. Back to the comments. Matt, PPR Flex, James White, Aaron Jones, or Tariq Cohen, Kenny Galladay, Will Fuller. That's a lot of guys. Is Cohen playing? Yeah, Cohen's playing this. Or are they off this week? Bears are off this week, aren't they?
No, they were off last week. I think you go James White. I think James White out of those guys. PPR. If you're only playing one, James White. If you can play two, go James White and Will Fuller if he plays. If Fuller doesn't play, go Galladay.
Okay, we got an update from Hawaii. They are all good. The volcanic activity is over for now. And the weather is beautiful. So thank you for the island update. I appreciate that, and thanks for checking it out. Make sure you're following Everything Fantasy Nation on Facebook and Twitter, and make sure you're also checking out EBSN Online, also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can check out this podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes, and also on Google Play. And you can check us out anytime you want in the car or wherever you may be that way. And go to ebsnonline.com as well. And Adam Hicks, would you play Josh Gordon this week? I'd pump the brakes on him if you have a little bit better option, just because we don't know what Josh Gordon is yet in that offense.
Yeah, if you don't have to, I wouldn't.
And then Greg Heinbaugh, Carlos Hyde, or Royce Freeman. I'm going to continue to ride with Carlos Hyde. He's running the ball hard.
Yeah, and playing Baltimore this week, you know it's going to be one of those AFC North slugfest, so to say.
And they're going to have to run the ball against Baltimore because that secondary is dynamite.
I believe Baltimore got Jimmy Smith back too, didn't they? He's coming back this week. So
I'll tell you what. You talk about Bet DSI. Go and put a little bit of cash on the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, they're surprisingly the AFC North is
you can get
tough,
like 18-1 or something like that.
Yep.
I think Joe Flacco this year has been challenged by them drafting Lamar Jackson. They really pushed him. They've got some decent weapons now with Crabtree and Brown, and the backfield's coming together, and that defense is really good. And we know John Harbaugh is that type of coach.
Yep. I mean, they still have Terrell Suggs. They're getting Jimmy Smith
God,
back.
I hate you, Crows, so much. Ozzie Newsome should be RGM in Cleveland. Anyway, I'll digress.
We should
on
have
that.
a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, it's just enough is enough. Okay. One more for Greg. Corey Davis or D.D. Westbrook?
Corey Davis.
I do too. I think Mariota had coming off that big game. He looks like he's starting to get his stuff together, and Corey Davis is breaking out.
That was what they wanted from him when they drafted him. Was that game last week against Philadelphia?
We have time for one more phone call.
Yeah, we're gonna do one more phone call, and then we're gonna get Fredo up here to talk just a little bit of puck and to shave off half his goatee to pay off his bet from last week, and then we'll get one more pick on the way out of here. Go ahead with the phone call. Who we got?
We've got friend of the program, Aaron Campbell, on the line. What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Hey, what's up, dudes? I just got a quick question. I'll listen offline. I got trying to choose between Kerryon Johnson versus Green Bay or Kenyon Drake versus Cincinnati.
Thanks for that call, Aaron.
Well, there you go. You heard Fredo there. We've already talked about Kenyon Drake, so I think Kerryon Johnson is your easy money right there, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, again, you're in a backfield split. I mean, LeGarrette Blount, I think, has had like maybe 3 less carries than Kerryon Johnson. Theo Riddick is getting 50% of the touches because he's catching the ball.
Yep.
And so you can't really trust anybody.
But
he
Johnson's
looks the
producing.
best.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's putting the numbers up. And
I think he will as you get going on, too. But, no, thanks for the question. Great question. And I would stay the hell away from Drake. And if you can keep him on your bench for 2 more weeks just to buy a little time, that's what I think I'm going to try to do. Just
hold on.
Give me one more 2 weeks and hope Frank Gore pulls a hamstring. Okay.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Wookie, I dig your shirt, man.
There it is.
Yeah.
Double Wu-Tang shout out for the Wook.
Aaron, you want to touch on that poll question? Who is the greatest fantasy running back of all time? Emmett, Falk, or Peterson?
Emmett for sure.
There it is.
There it is.
We've had a couple limits now so far.
All right.
Thanks for calling, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Bye,
Appreciate
guys.
it. All right. And then Greg says, y'all are awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Greg. We think you're awesome, too. Justin wants to know Carlos Hyde or Adrian Peterson. Fredo, you got an update on Adrian Peterson's condition?
He is expected to play as of right now.
What's his ailment?
But it ankle injury, Monday night game, monitor the practices. But my personal feeling is if somebody's the last game of the week and you don't know they're playing, find a better option.
Yep. And you have a good option there in Carlos Hyde. So if you don't have anything solid by 12:50 this week, go ahead and just plug Hyde in, and hopefully that works out.
Okay. Yeah, so I definitely think Carlos Hyde is the answer to that one for sure. Okay. Last 2 here. Justin wants to know Grant Murray or Kerryon Johnson as a running back 2. Grant's a wide receiver, isn't he? Grant Murray or Kerryon Johnson as a running back
with
2.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I would go with Curry in there.
Maybe he's talking about
Kerryon Johnson.
Maybe he's talking about his flex position.
Oh, maybe he's put RB2, but that's yeah. We'll go with Kerryon Johnson.
And I don't want any part of Latavius Murray.
No,
even he already burned me once going into that Buffalo game. After that,
Donald chimes back in with us too, and we appreciate when he called in earlier. But he has a question that I want to know too.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from Julian Edelman tonight?
I expect them to get him involved really quick. I think he'll step back in and be the type of player that you expect to see. I'm
seeing like 6 catches for 80 yards and maybe a touchdown. So, I mean, if you're PPR, you're looking at a pretty good night.
I think that's the ballpark for that for sure. All right, Scott, Josh Brown, or Mixon. If Mixon's healthy, I go with probably Mixon in that spot. Justin, thank you. And Grant is a running back, says Justin Miranda. Okay, I guess so. I thought I saw him as a
They
wide
said from
receiver.
Jacksonville.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
that's
sorry, I was thinking of the Indy wide receiver.
Yep.
My bad. Yeah, I think T.Y. Yeldon's or T.J. Yeldon's going to get most of those touches, so I'd stay away from Grant.
I think
in
a lot of that
situation.
game's going to be going through the air as well, so
Yep,
I don't think
gotcha.
you're going to have as much stuff coming out of the backfield.
Got it. Thanks, guys, for clarifying that. Okay, we're going to make a quick transition here. Wookie, thank you for coming in, and as always, great job. We are going to get Fredo up here to shave half of his goatee to pay off a bet, and he's also going to give you some puck plays here as we go ahead and wrap up the show. So, again, Wook, and we will go ahead and do that. Get Fredo in here. There we go. Live video. Nothing like it. All right, Fredo, let's make sure you get that mic in front of you there. There's your mirror. I'll give you a little bit of room.
Yeah,
You got
you're.
some paper here to catch your shavings, and I want to stay as far away from you as possible so I don't eat any.
Yeah, because this is steel wool I'm shaving.
Honest to God. Okay, so Fredo, last week, just to give you guys a little bit of context, he picks a game of the week against the spread. He started off really hot, was 4-1, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
5-2. And then get up a little bit closer there, Fredo.
And then things went off the rails, beginning with, as many things going off the rails,
Yes.
Rutgers and Kansas.
Yes, and that's what happens when you start taking Rutgers and you start taking Memphis, and this is what you got to do. So go ahead and turn those on. I'll talk a little bit about the NHL season getting underway last night, and we had some decent games. We had Toronto taking on Montreal, and those are going to be the situations where, this is good. This is good radio or videos. We say, oh man, look at all those gray hairs coming off. Connor McDavid, though, he's got to be the one guy that I think, if you're going to really talk about a guy this year in the NHL to break out and be the guy that you think he's going to be, I think Connor McDavid is going to be that guy. And then you got the Toronto guy in Austin Matthews, right? Yeah. So go ahead and talk a little bit of puck. And, man, you look great. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. All right. That's what I'm talking about, Fredo. Hey.
Matthews a lot because he's going to have some pressure taken off of him because he doesn't have to be the guy now.
Okay.
He's got John Tavares as I guess center 1B, I suppose, and they're going to roll really well. You just can't stop looking at this, can you?
How can you?
But yeah. Personally, I feel that at the top of your draft, if you haven't drafted yet, I realize the season started last night, that you're going to want to fill the hard to fill positions of defense and goalie first, because you can find 20, 30, the days of having 7, 8, 9, 50 goal scorers are gone.
Well,
you've got maybe one or two of those guys.
Mario Lemieux was the last 200-point scorer, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. So you're going to have a lot of guys who are in that 25, 30, maybe 20 goal range. So you can find goals. You can find assists. Everything else is a crapshoot. Oh, we've got me on the big screen with the
there you are.
Yeah, with the
good look. Do the two-face thing. There you go. There's bad Fredo. There's good Fredo. Yeah.
Yeah. And as much as I've personally off air talked about Bobrovsky being maybe should be traded. I know that's a hot take, but
this is my hot take last year.
Yeah, in the regular season, Bobrovsky is money.
Right.
But trade him before he gets to the playoffs.
All right, so the hockey season just getting underway this week. We'll be getting into more hockey. Gary Robinson says he cashed his DraftKings daily hockey last night. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. As we get going through the season and football starts winding down, we'll get more into basketball. We'll get more into hockey. We'll get into the golf season as that gets going in January, and talk a little bit more about daily sports when it comes to those things, and get your questions involved in all of that sort of stuff as well. Okay, so let's do a quick pick this week. I only feel like it's fair. I'll go heads up against you this week. I'll put something on the line. And you know what? I'll put my full beard up because there ain't no way I'm going to look like an idiot like you and shave half of my beard. But
there's a lesson here.
If
Don't bet
wrong,
anything.
If you're wrong, I have a feeling you're going to shave the rest of it off at some point today, right?
Yeah, it's coming off as soon as we get off the air.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs and Jacksonville Jaguars play. I like Jacksonville +3.
And
you like Kansas City -3.
Yes.
If Kansas City covers 3, I will shave my beard. If Jacksonville covers 3, you have to grow your beard, but you can only grow half of your beard from Sunday. So you have to shave half your face for 4 straight days until the show next week, and then do the entire show with a half a beard.
Yeah.
Deal?
Deal.
All right, there it is. Kansas City and Jacksonville. I'm on the Jags -3, or +3, I'm sorry. And Fredo's going to put a half of a week's growth on the line for Kansas City. Okay, want to thank BetDSI again. BetDSI.com. Great place to go get all your gambling done as far as sports wagering. Even I'm sure they have casino and everything else going on over there as well. Use promo code EBSN online. They're going to give you a cash bonus up to $500. So for every penny you put in there, up to $500, they're going to match it. So if you get $500 in there, all of a sudden you'll have $1,000 in there. Just make sure you put EBSN online as the promo code, or I'm sorry, EBSN is the promo code on there. BetDSI.com, hundreds of wagering options, live in-game betting. It's a great site, so you'll be able to do just about props, anything you want to do and bet on outside of fantasy football. You can get it done at BetDSI.com. I want to thank Wookie, producer G. Great job today. Thank you as always. I want to thank everybody for all the questions and calls. I want to thank Fred for being such a good sport and getting all the way back from Albuquerque in time for it. That was awesome. Wookie for coming in. It was a great time. Go to Everything Fantasy Nation. Follow us there. Go to everything or EBSN Online. Follow us there. Facebook, Instagram, EBSNonline.com. You can check out all that content. We'll be back next week, 2 to 3 on Thursday. If you got any other questions, hit us up on Facebook. We'll try to get them answered next week. Until next time, say goodnight, Fredo.
Good night, Fredo.